household name. I don't really have to introduce him. I have a huge hakros hatov to the Rov, because I think I'd say about 3 to 4 times a week I quote you over here. Tremendous insights and elucidations and chizuk and chidushim, just really beautiful Torah. So I have a personal hakros hatov. I'd say I'm a Talmud of yours actually. So I have a special hakros hatov. He's been speaking all over South Africa. He has thousands of shiurim on the internet, as I'm sure all of you are aware. Torah Anytime and many other places. There's a couple of sforim over here from the many sforim that he's authored over the last couple of years. I was actually just going through this one over here. If you should chap it if you can, it's a very beautiful sefer. I was actually going through it a couple of days ago. So anybody who'd like to, at any rate, it's a great honor. The Rav is on his way back with his group to United States, and this is the last stop. He's honored us with sharing some Torah with us, and thank you very much, and we're greatly honored.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi, for the very kind introduction. I want to thank the community for hosting me this weekend. It's really been a spectacular time together, seeing so many dear friends and sharing Divrei Torah and meeting so many of you. It's really a very special community, and look forward to being together for many happy times in the future. I want to thank Rabbi Akiva Gilbert for putting in a lot of work in organizing the whole trip from beginning, Cape Town, Shabbos Project, Kruger National Park. Today, actually my name is Daniel, and they brought me to a lion's den today. Luckily, I had the correct name to be able to emerge. Well, all I know is we came with like 20 people from America, and there's 7 people left. So, and their name was not Daniel. So what do you expect? I know when they brought me in to lion's den today, I was like looking at the trainer, and the trainer had like claw marks on his neck. So I got a little nervous. And then the owner of the place had like a gash in her arm, which she said was from one of the lions. Anyway, so enjoy your lions over here and just stay safe. I want to thank Jonathan Rogoff for making the trip possible, and for making the organization and taking care of the Sfarim and all of the hard work and arrangements that Rabbi Yonatan put in. And I wish you and your mishpacha and Rabbi Gilbert and his mishpacha and the whole community only bracha v'hatzlacha. Okay, I want to share with you somewhat of an original understanding of Akeidas Yitzchak. Some of it is already well documented in classic Sfarim, and some of it is somewhat original. The pasuk in the beginning of the parasha says, "Vatama Sarah b'Kiryas Arba." Sarah died in Kiryas Arba, hi Chevron. So Rashi brings, Lama nismecha misa Sarah la Akeida. Why is the death of Sarah juxtaposed to the Akeida? So Rashi says, when Sarah heard that Avram Avinu had brought Yitzchak to the Akeida with the knife on the neck, v'chemat shaloi nishchat, and that he wasn't shechted, parcha nishmasa, she died, she expired. She died in shock. She expired. She was so moved, she was so shaken up by the possibility that her husband slaughtered her only son, she died. We're all familiar with these comments of Rashi. Sarah Imenu died hearing the report of the Akeida. But what's interesting is the Zohar HaKadosh has a different interpretation of these words. Vatama Sarah b'Kiryas Arba, says the Zohar HaKadosh and Zohar Chadash. Vatama Sarah b'Kiryas Arba da Kriya Shema. These are the 4 words of Kriya Shema. Namely, Kriyas Arba Asvan, reading the 4 words, the Shema Kadisha, the holy name, the Inun Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. So why did Sarah die? She died saying the words, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. So we have these 2 divergent explanations for why Sarah died. One pshat is, she died hearing about the report of the Akeida, which is very interesting. This woman was not mentally stable enough that if she would have heard the whole report, Avram didn't do anything to him. The angel came and said, hey, cut it out. Just kidding, Put down the knife, don't do anything. What she was so unsteady that just the beginning of the report shook her up so much that she died. I mean, she is one of the greatest Ba'alas bitachon. She had great faith in God. She had great equanimity, great peace of mind. You would think that she had it all together, that some kind of start of report should not shake her up so much that she should die because of it. But that's what Rashi says. But the Zohar says something differently. The Zohar says she died saying Kriya Shema. Why was she saying Shema? Why in the world was this lady saying Shema at the time? And can we reconcile the words of the Zohar that she died saying Shema with the words of Rashi, that she died hearing the report about the Akeida? So, I want to bring to your attention a very unusual commentary on the Akeida. It's not so well known. Even one time I was speaking about it with the Shvilei Pinchas, Reb Pinchas Friedman, who's one of the great Balei Machshava today. He's the Rosh Hashiva of one of the Belzer Kabbalah yeshivas in Eretz Yisrael, and I was telling him about this purest that the Chida brings down, and he's like, I'm not sure you should say this over. I said, well, I already prepared it. He said, okay, then I guess you could say it over. So I took that, I guess you could say it over. But, just I realize this is not the classic interpretation of the Akeida, but the Chida brings it down from a Kadmoin. The name of the Kadmoin is the Zera Beirech, which is one of the great Kadmoinim. Few questions. When you go to someone's house and you say Berachas Hamazon, you got to bless the Balabayas. You say Yehi Ratzain, Yehi Ratzain. I had a shul in my house, so people say, you had a shul in your house? I said, yeah. I joke around because somebody came to my house and he made that Yehi Ratzain with too much kavana that my work should be close to my house. And guess what happened? My work went into my house, But you have to bless the Balabayas. What's the source of that? Rabbi Yosef Engel says, V'achalta v'savatu v'eirachta es Hashem. Es is always a riboy. Whenever we have the word es, it always comes to include something. So you have to bless God. Who else do you need to bless? The Balabayas. So what does it mean by the Akeida? V'ho Elokim nisa es Avraham. The Lord tested es Avraham. Who else did God test besides Avraham? To say, oh, I know. It's coming to include Yitzchak. Oh, you're kidding me. Wow, how do you think of that one? No kidding. Obviously, Yitzchak was being tested. That's why I need the word es. Is anyone else being included in the word es? At the end of the Akeida, the Malach says to Abraham, Ki varech avarechacha, I will surely bless you. Veharba arba, I will surely increase. What's this double language? Barech avarechacha, harba arba. Then the pasuk says, Vayikra Abraham Shem HaMakom Hashem Yireh. Abraham called the place Hashem Yireh, Asher Ye'omer Hayom, because it was said today. That's what Abraham is focusing on? Because something was said? What about what was done? What do you mean it was said today? What did they say? They didn't say any words. Abraham picked up the knife. He was about to shech Yitzchak. The angel said, don't do it. And Abraham didn't do it. What words is Abraham referring to when he said God should see that which was said today? Okay, you ready? This is the biggest question of all. Vayomer Yitzchak el Abraham aviv. And Isaac said to Abraham his father, Vayomer, and he said, Avi, Dad. Vayomer, and he said, Abraham said, Hineni b'ni, behold, here I am. What is this, masterpiece theater over here? This is Shakespeare? What in the world is this conversation? And Glatstein said to, what's your last name? Gerson. And Gerson said,
yes, Glatstein.
Exactly. What is this? What are we in, South Africa or something? What is this conversation? And Abraham said to Yitzchak, Yitzchak said to Abraham, Avi, Vayomer, Hineni b'ni, and the curtain drops. What is this conversation? The Medrash tells us in the Yalkut Shimoni that Avraham was so great that not only would Avraham shech Yitzchak, Avraham would give his eye for God. Not only would Avraham give his eye for God, Avraham would give his life for God. How do we know Avraham would give his life for God? Shenemar, es bincha es yechidcha, ve'ein yechidcha ela nishmascha. What is the neshama called? Yechida. You know the song? Es nafshi ha-yechida. The soul is called Yechida. The Medrash seems to imply, what's this Medrash talking about? That Avraham would even be willing to give his life to God? But God didn't ask Abraham to give his life for him, so how do we know Abraham would give his life for God? It seems, says the Zara Berech, that the Lord is telling Abraham, Kachna es bincha, and also es yechidcha. I want you to kill Yitzchak, and then take your own life. You never heard that before. That one never made it, didn't come to South Africa yet. I want you to take your son, and I want you to take your own life. And it seems like taking his son was mandatory, and taking his own life was discretionary. I admit, this is not the classic interpretation of the Akeida. And if this is too much for you, just forget about this class. But this is brought down by the Chida in the Sefer Rosh David, Parshas Vayera. And the Chida brings down that the Rebbeinu Shalom asked Abraham not only to shecht Yitzchak, but to take his own life. Now we have a little bit of a problem over here, very interesting halachic issue. Because first of all, if Abraham kills Yitzchak and he shechts him, what halachic status will Abraham Avinu have?
Murderer.
He's a murderer? Well, God told him to, so that we'll get around that one by... He's an oinein. His close relative has passed away. So, okay, he's an oinein. What can he not now do to Yitzchak? He can't be makriv him on the Mizbeach, right? The pasuk says clearly that an oinein cannot be makriv karbanos on the Mizbeach. Lo yachalti ba'oini mimenu. You can't bring a carbon as an oinein. So the moment Avraham takes the life of Yitzchak, Avraham becomes an oinein, and now he can't bring the Akeida. So Avraham should have known from the beginning that the whole Akeida was a scam, because once he shechs him, he can't bring the carbon. Good question. You know whose question this is? The Magen Avram. The Magen Avram, one of the classic commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch, wrote a commentary on the Medrash, and he asks, how could Avram have done the Akeida? The moment he shechs Yitzchak, he becomes an Akeida. Now, if Avram was supposed to take his own life, was he supposed to take his own life, or was Yitzchak supposed to shecht Avraham? And the Zera Berach says this is exactly the conversation that Avraham and Yitzchak are having. Vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham aviv. Vayomer Avi, Dad, I can't shecht you. You're my father. What am I supposed to do over here? This command is inconceivable. Avi, I'm going to take my own father? Avram said, no. Hineni b'ni. I'm going to take my own life. First I take yours, and then I take my own life. That is how the Zera Berech learns the episode of the Akeida. Now that's shocking, but that is brought, you can look it up yourself if you want. You know what? I'll be a nice guy. I'm going to leave you the Marmakaimas. Here they are. You look it up after. By the way, don't take rabbi's words for anything, except for your rabbi, but not any other rabbi. If a rabbi tells you something, you have to look it up. You have to learn it yourself. Torah doesn't belong to anyone. It's your Torah. You have to take ownership over it. If you hear a Dvar Torah, you need to know who says it, do they really say it, and what it means. I like to make source sheets, because if you hear a shiur or you hear a Dvar Torah, you need to take ownership over it. Anyway, turns out that Hashem is asking Abraham to take... Now, what about the oinein problem? Yeah? So if you look carefully in the Medrash says something astounding. The Medrash in the Al Kochvani says, Ukekoyen gadol higish es minchasai. Abraham brought Isaac to the altar like a kohen gadol. That means Avraham Avinu had the halachic status of a high priest, even though a regular kohen. How many, by show of hands, how many kohanim are here? We have a few kohanim. A regular kohen cannot do the avodah as an oinein. By the way, unless the kohen already started doing the avodah and then he became an oinein, he's allowed to finish it. So the Rogatchover asks, why would the Medrash have to say he was a kohen gadol? But the Rogatchover says because shchita is not considered the avodah, so it's not considered a start. However, a Kohen Gadol is allowed to do the avodah as an oinen. The Medrash says that Avraham Avinu had halachic status as a Kohen Gadol because otherwise he would not be able to finish the job with Yitzchak. So here's my idea. It's based on the Sefer Avodas Yisrael, the Machon Maggid, and I told it over to the Shvilei Pinchas, and he says he thinks someone says it, but I don't know who the someone is. And you'll tell me what you think. That means the Almighty told Abraham, you shecht Yitzchak. And you know what? And if you want, you take your own life. And Avraham Avinu was willing to shecht Yitzchak. And Avraham Avinu was willing to take his life. And at the last moment, in the 11th hour, the angel says, okay, enough. Just kidding, you know? Don't touch him. Don't do anything. We need you around. We need Isaac around. We need Abraham around. Sarah is hearing about this monumental command that Avram was supposed to shecht Yitzchak, the greatest act of self-sacrifice in the history of the world. And she feels she's having Fomo. You know what Fomo is? Yeah? You know, in South Africa, you know what Fomo is? Yeah, but explain to these guys what Fomo is. She felt left out. Abraham is doing the act. Isaac is having his life being taken away. And Sarah Imenu is sitting there in her tent, Hinei ba'ohel, and she has no role in this. So Sarah Imenu knew the secret of Kriya Shema. Do you know that one of the primary kavanas to have when saying Shema, when you're Mekabel O Malchus Shamayim, what does it mean? Come in, right? When you're Mekabel O Malchus Shamayim, is one of the primary kavanas to have, is that if ever put to the ultimate challenge, you would give up your life for Hashem. When you say Shema and you close your eyes and you accept the yoke of heaven, you think if ever put to the ultimate challenge, you would give up your life for Hashem. Now, says Avodas Yisrael, Sarah knew she couldn't be there in Har Moriah, not on the Mizbeach and not with the knife. So if she couldn't be in on the action, at least let her have a role in the Akeida that she's supplying the kavana of the Akeida, that if ever put to the ultimate challenge, she would give up her life al Kiddush Hashem. So actually, it comes out, we have three players in the Akeida. We have Abraham with the knife, we have Isaac bound on the Mizbeach, and we have Sarah in her tent willing to give up her life al Kiddush Hashem. But I would add one little twist. In yeshiva, we call it one little knetch, okay? If you read carefully the words of Rashi, if you were writing Rashi, I would have wrote, when Sarah heard about the Akeida, that kemat, that practically, shenishchat, that he was shechted, her soul departed. But that's not what Rashi says. Do you know what the words of Rashi are? Her son came to be slaughtered. V'kemat sheloi nishchat. Practically, he wasn't shechted. Sister, I can't believe it. My whole life, I was waiting to sanctify the name of God. I'm so happy that my husband was given this mitzvah. And Abraham passed the test. And Abraham brought Yitzchak to the carbon, to the Mizbeach. And then Sarah heard, I can't believe it, the angel said that cut it, don't do anything, he's not shechted. So then what? Nothing happened? The whole thing was a charade? No one gave up their life for Hashem? Not Abraham. God told Abraham, you could take your own life. God told Yitzchak, God told Abraham, you could take Yitzchak's life. And Abraham didn't take his own life. He didn't take Yitzchak's life. And everybody's walking away scot-free. Sarah says, somebody has to be involved in the Akeida in a real way. So Sarah said, it's going to be me. So Sarah said Kriya Shema with the kavana to give up her life al Kiddush Hashem. And it turns out God did not accept the carbon of Abraham. He did not accept the carbon of Yitzchak, but he did accept the carbon of Sarah. Sarah was the nefesh that God took as the Akeida. You know, when Rabbi Akiva's life was being taken away, what was Rabbi Akiva doing? Rabbi Akiva was saying the Kriya Shema. And when Rabbi Akiva was saying the Kriya Shema, he was having kavana to offer his life to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, on a regular day, he had to, so to speak, toe the line. He couldn't actually give up his life for Hashem because he still needed it. But on that fateful day, when they were going to take it anyway, Rabbi Akiva gave up his life, Al Kiddush Hashem, by saying Shema, which is exactly what Sarah Imenu did. You see, there's an idea that usually when we say Shema, we're protected because we're commanded. Sarah wasn't commanded. So her life was taken through her recitation of Shema. So there's no contradiction between the words of Chazal and the words of the Zohar. Chazal say that Sarah Imenu died finding out about the Akeida. And the Zohar says that Sarah died saying Shema. But they go hand in hand. When she heard about the report of the Akeida, and she said, can I also have a role in this? She recited the Shema. And actually, of all the individuals who were involved in the Akeida, it wasn't Abraham, it wasn't Yitzchak, perhaps it was Sarah Imenu who passed with flying colors the test of the Akeida. And in that case, when it says, V'alekim Nisa Es Avraham, and you want to know who is the S coming to include, who else was tested besides Abraham? Perhaps it was none other than Sarah Imenu. And that's Chayei Sarah, the great life of Sarah Imenu, who she also had a role participating in Akeidas Yitzchak. And there are many sources that whenever we say the Kriya Shema, and we have in mind to, if ever put to the ultimate test, we would give up our life, Akeidas Hashem, that is fused together with the act of sacrifice throughout the generations, and we have a share in the Mesiras Nefesh of the Jewish people throughout the ages. So this is a few things to think about when it comes to Akeidas Yitzchak. I thank you very much for your kind attention, and I wish you all bracha v'atzlacha, and Yimali Hashem kol mashalos libcha l'tova. Thank you very much.